Astronomy has a very long history spanning millennia and through several great civilizations, with some equally great individuals between them. Mesopotamia was the first civilization to have records of astronomy 6,000 years ago. The records, for the most part, were destroyed, yet some of the architecture remains, most mentionably the ziggurats, which were observatories with meaningful aesthetic qualities that represented celestial objects, such as the sun and moon. Simultaneously, Egypt was also investing in astronomical endeavors. This was almost entirely for practical reasons, most notably the annual flooding of the Nile. The need to predict the flooding was very important to the Egyptians, as it was vital to sustaining their civilization. Despite all the strides to understand the universe around them, most documents were lost and destroyed in this civilization as well. Stonehenge is an ancient astronomical observatory supposedly built in the Neolithic era of the Stone Age. It was visited by ancient humans during the winter solstice. This is theorized because there is no evidence to support that there was visitation on the summer solstice. In the 13th century BC, the Chinese civilization was very interested in eclipses, both solar and lunar. In their great time as a civilization, they recorded 900 solar eclipses and 600 lunar eclipses. Thales, who lived from 624 BC to 547 BC, was able to predict one lunar eclipse. Pythagoras was a Greek mathematician who, with his students, created a model of the solar system. He also concluded that space is made up of moving spherical objects. He also loved to use math to explain these motions. You want to know who else liked math? Babylonians. In their considerable amount of records, you can find how they attempted to use math to explain the positions and movement of celestial objects, like planets, the moon, and sun. Aristotle was a firm believer in the Pythagorean spherical celestial objects concept. He made proof of the spherical Earth by creating a model displaying Earth's shadow over the moon. Aristarchus was the man responsible for synergizing geometry and astronomy. He accomplished this feat by successfully calculating the distance between the sun and moon. Eratosthenes determined the circumference of the Earth. Hipparchus, also known as the greatest astronomer of antiquity, revised Aristarchus's geometric formula for calculating the size and distance of the moon, which he found to be 59 Earth radia. Later, however, the moon was found to be factually 60 Earth radia. After a long story of the history of astronomy taking place on the same half of the world, we finally move on to the Mayans / Mesoamericans. Besides creating calendars, the Mayans / Mesoamericans studied Venus as it was of religious importance and created many buildings aligned with sunrise and sunset, and it is unknown if we will ever know the extent of Mesoamerican knowledge. Ptolemy was an astronomer who worked in Alexandria. He created a system to accurately measure orbit. He is also the one to have invented terrestrial latitude and longitude. The Arabs / Muslims improved and created observing techniques. They also improved ways planetary positions were calculated, but more importantly, they preserved the astronomy of ancient Greeks. Because someone had to. Copernicus is best known for publishing the theory of a sun-centered solar system, which was greatly opposed to the geocentric solar system that people were used to hearing about at the time. Brahe, known as the most accurate observer at the time, creating a benchmark for theories to be tested on. However, he rejected the heliocentric model. Galileo is credited with a vast amount of contributions to astronomical science. He discovered 4 of Jupiter's moons, named in his honor. He studied sunspots, but he did not invent the telescope. The credit for the telescope goes to Hans Lippershey, who probably made a ton of money. Galileo did, however, make improvements to the telescope. He also brought the heliocentric model to prominence, but at the cost of his freedom. The Roman Inquisition denied his findings and placed him under house arrest for life. Kepler, who was the successor to Brahe, created the laws of planetary motion, also known as Kepler's laws. Isaac Newton invented laws of motion, as well as a law of gravitation, and he explained tides scientifically. A staunch supporter of Newton was known as Edmund Halley. He also discovered Halley's Comet, which was aptly named and appears every 75 to 76 years. Later on, Albert Einstein revised Newton's laws of gravity, calling it the theory of relativity. There is special relativity and general relativity. Niels Bohr contributed to the quantum theory. Wolfgang Pauli was a pioneer of quantum physics. He created the Pauli exclusion principle and helped determine the cause of black holes. Werner Heisenberg was one of the key creators of quantum mechanics. Edwin Hubble established intergalactic astronomy. He also discovered that space is larger than the Milky Way, and he supported the Doppler shift. George Lemaitre created the Big Bang theory, one that is still widely accepted today. Robert Oppenheimer is best known as the father of the atomic bomb, yet he made contributions to many sciences. For instance, he theorized the neutron star. Fred Hoyle created the theory of stellar nucleosynthesis and rejected the Big Bang theory. Penzias and Wilson discovered cosmic microwave background radiation. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin were astronauts in 1969, and the first men to walk on the moon. Well, I guess the only thing to do now is colonize Mars.